Salve amici del board game Storico, da Washington è il vostro Duca che vi parla. Oggi in occasione della nostra convention a Piana delle Orme abbiamo un ospite di eccezione che sicuramente conoscete, uno dei disegnatori dei nostri giochi. Ecco qui alcuni dei suoi giochi prodotti negli ultimi anni. Avrete sicuramente capito, si tratta di Volko Ruhnke. Volko, thank you very much for accepting to talking to us for the convention in Italy. As you know what we are talking is in Piana delle Orme. A lot of gamers are getting together, and they are excited about knowing from you a little bit more about the game hobby and what we are working on.
Well, thank you, Roberto and VG Storico, for having me. Certainly wish I could be there, but this is maybe the next best thing.
Maybe next year we will be there.
Maybe next year.
Okay. Okay, Volker, so while we enjoy some of the Nero d'Avola Sicilian wine, couple of questions. As you know, the convention theme is about how games and board games in particular work as an educative vehicle for gamers. So the value and the strength of board games as an educational tool. What do you think about that? You know, we have Paul Sabin at the convention. He will probably cover some of the things, but we are very interested in how you see that part of the strength of the games.
Yeah. So I think it's a wonderful theme. Board games, war games, and education. I'm also an enthusiastic follower of Phil Sabin, and I will probably echo just some of the things that he's written about, and give you my view. I think games, tabletop games in particular, are such a powerful tool for learning and education for a couple of reasons. And the first reason is story. And I knew that when I was growing up as a child playing war games, I was learning geography and history and politics and about world leaders and the like, and I could outmatch any of the students in my school on any of those subjects. I think what
for us in Italy was English as well.
Was English. So, for example, I learned a great deal of European geography from playing games.
Right.
And the games are so able to give you that education that sticks with you because of story. Because we are, as human beings, wired to learn first by hearing stories, because it's the primeval way.
It's the narrative, underlying the experience.
It is exactly how we are designed to learn as human beings, right? We gather around the campfire. What happened to you today? Well, let me tell you, there was this tiger, and let me tell you what I learned from that, right?
Yeah,
and that's how we learn. And so why not just read a story in a book, because that's also effective, or listening to somebody? Well, when we play the games, we create our own narrative.
Right.
It's our story.
Yes.
And now we remember it even more.
Yes, because we went through it.
Because we went through it, exactly. So games are able to transport us to, let's say, different times or different settings in such a way that is then mentally very sticky, right? We remember stories. And so I know that when I meet students who have played games as part of some kind of education, they remember what happened in the game. They maybe don't remember what the professor said, right? But they remember, oh, I played this and this happened.
And this what happened.
Yes, absolutely. So there's that. But there's a deeper level, and that is the nature of history and how we need to think about complex topics. Because geography and narrative and personalities, these are simple, really linear questions.
Yep.
But history is not really about narrative. True. History is not really just this happened and then this happened and this happened, because we need to understand at the time all the possibilities.
Yes.
That is a complex system. Or if we want to understand other topics like politics or economics.
And all these things that were factored into what happened at the time.
Yes, or is happening today.
Or is happening today.
Right? If we want to understand complex human affairs, then we have to understand these systems. And so how do we think about that? How do we understand that? In social sciences, or if you're an economist, or if you're a politician, a good one, you're thinking about systems, and that means you have a mental model. And the difficulty then, we all have mental models, but the difficulty in learning from each other in education is, how do I express my model and show you that?
So I'm very glad you mentioned Mark Herman, because I think this aspect
of innovation through combining different bits of the subculture of
Yeah.
board games is one of the things that makes them so exciting for me
Yeah.
as a designer. I think Mark Herman started something, and I think 1994 was We the People. And we think
Correct,
about
yeah.
we think about first, of course, everybody knows everything that came from that, including, by the way, the coin series,
Yeah.
that same lineage. What's so exciting about We the People? Mark Herman comes out of a very traditional wargaming background, SPI, victory games, hardcore war games. And here's this game which has not hexes but point-to-point movement, and there's fighting in it, but it's mainly about positioning. And then there are the cards
Yeah.
in a war game that drive the action, including by bringing in political events.
Yeah.
Right? And so he is innovating by combining. It's not that he invented cards or
Right,
cards in
right,
games, right?
right.
But he's innovating by combining in a new way these different cultural aspects that allow us now to think about warfare, in this case the American Revolution, not just as a matter of logistics and battles and muskets, but of an integration of political and military tools and positioning and local loyalties, right, and all of that.
Yes, the
And-
political simulation is very strong.
The political simulation is very strong,
the base of
which
it,
I
right? Exactly.
strongly suspect that is the main reason he reached for cards,
Yeah,
was
probably.
to have an easy, elegant, fun
Yeah,
way to model political impact of political events and personalities on warfare. And now think of everything that's come from that. So the coin series borrows a few other things and combines some other things, but it's really a shoot off of that tree. With
Yeah.
no We the People, there is no falling sky.
yeah, I agree. So, Volko, that's very interesting about how powerful are these games for education purposes. And some of your designs are crossover between, hardcore war games and Euro games. How do you think that this particular structure, this, if you want, coming together of these two worlds, support and helps that education content?
Yes, I hope it does. I hope it does, because it's part of what I do want to achieve as a designer. And education is only one of the reasons.
Yeah.
Why. A more fundamental reason is I want to participate in bringing the state of the hobby forward for all board gamers. And the concept to me has to do with again, two fundamental aspects of human nature to kind of back out from board gaming.
Yeah.
And the first aspect is tribalism. Tribalism. So we are naturally disposed within larger nations and larger cultures to organize ourselves and identify in smaller groups, and it's tribes.
Yeah.
And it's principally with the purpose of defending our stuff and keeping your stuff over there, or maybe taking some of your stuff for us.
Yeah.
And that's a very natural behavior. And so within board gaming, we have this great global culture of board gaming, but of course we have tribes within it, so that it's not just that I like this type of mechanic, or I like this subject, or whatever, but I am a war gamer, or I am a Euro gamer, and here's what war games are, and here's what Euro games are. It's very natural.
Very natural,
But it's stifling too, and it's stifling because of the second aspect of human nature I want to bring up, and that is, how does innovation happen? How do we bring cultures forward, or science, or technology? Innovation always requires the taking of existing ideas and combining them in new ways.
Yeah.
And as, there's a great journalist of technology, his name is Matthew Ridley.
Yeah.
He said, all human progress is a matter of ideas having sex.
Yeah.
And so I want to participate in that in wargaming. I want to take ideas from our different tribes, and I don't, not only to intermarry our tribes by encouraging an individual player to like different board games. That's important too.
Yeah.
We want to have our tribes be intermarried, but also taking those little bits of culture together and combining them in new ways to come up with some synthesis that's better, right? And so that's certainly a part of the agenda of my coin series.
Yeah.
Is to appeal to a couple of different tribes, which we can maybe, with forgiveness, I might call the Panzer Pushers as one tribe, and the Cabbage Growers is the other tribe. And I'm trying to say to the Panzer Pushers, look, I know this looks a little strange with wooden pieces and everything, but it is history.
Yeah.
It's a war game.
Yes.
At its heart.
Yes.
And come over here and have a look at this, because it's an interesting look at history in a different way than what you're used to, and it can illuminate by bringing in politics, by bringing in interfactional relations, as well as some battlefield mechanics.
Yeah.
It can illuminate some aspects of warfare you might not have seen in this way. It can help you refine your model.
Yeah, particularly the political aspect in some of these games.
Yes,
right?
so that's why I was so interested in insurgency and counterinsurgency, because it's military conflict in a way that brings political aspects to the fore.
Yeah.
And I
Strongly,
think
yeah.
you'll find economics and culture and nature and all kinds of other aspects mixed in there. So that's
brilliant.
Yeah, and then for the cabbage growers. Now here comes, and this is also part of that's part of education for the war gamers.
Yeah.
For the cabbage growers, I say, okay, I know war seems an unpleasant topic, or maybe it's a little bit scary or whatever, and this seems like a war game, but don't worry, it's safe. You know, you won't really be hurt. Nobody's really killed.
Yeah.
And there are some interesting things here to discover. And look, it looks just like any beautiful European produced game that you might be used to, and you can do this. And from there you can do other war games. And what will we learn from that? Well, now we have a war game that's dressed up as a beautiful, mechanically, I hope, elegant, Euro game. And so each of those tribes is now bringing something to the table, so to speak, in combination. And for the Euro gamers, we have this is a war game means it's not just theme. And by the way, it's not just something about wars. Wargaming has at its soul this idea that the fun comes from simulating history.
Yes.
Now it starts with military history, that's our tradition. But it can be any history.
It can be any history, yeah.
And with Euro games, the starting point is an elegant and beautiful design that maybe also has a topic. It may be about something, maybe not. It's not so important. But
it's really the design, the starting point.
But it's about something maybe. It's about growing cabbages, but it doesn't claim to be a model. So what if we combine those two ideas? This is what I attempt with the course. What if we combine? Here is a simulation. This is my best attempt in a simplified way to show you how I think guerrilla warfare in Colombia or in Vietnam War.
Yeah.
And just presented through the cultural symbols and mechanics, what a broader board gaming tribe or nation can enjoy.
Yeah.
If the coin series succeeds, that's how it will seek to knit together. And once, as a gamer, you find you can enjoy a game that is about a serious topic, that is about a consequential topic, like war or modern politics, and is indeed a simulation, is trying to be a model, admitting that every model is simplified. Now think of what's open to you for education.
Yes.
Think of what's open to you as a gamer in terms of enjoying other authors, other designers' models, to which you can add your own and have a more sophisticated understanding of any of a number of topics. And that's where I think we're going.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. With clearly people are now building on your idea. I think a friend of you, Mark Herman, is working on subjects like Churchill and what is coming up with the Peloponnesian War. Is designed on Pericles. There is a lot of that. So building on that ideas that you can cross over between idea war game and using some of the ideas of the coin that brings more Euro feeling into the game.
Yes.
So I think that maybe you just started a something that can be collected by other designers and brought to even a different level.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's overly generous with regard to me because because this is it. I didn't start it, but Mark Herman.
Yes.
I'm glad you mentioned him because this is why Mark is so exciting to me. Because I think he did start it for Wargamers with 1994. I think with Wii People. What was he doing there? What's genius about Wii People?
Yeah.
He comes from a complete war game tradition.
Yes.
SPI, victory games, and hardcore.
Great, Volko. And of course, we asked our friends in Italy if they have any question for you. And of course, what they want to know: what are you working on? What are some of the projects that keep you busy these days? And what specific questions they want to know whether you are also thinking about a new system, a new design model that you would like to introduce to the gamer anytime soon?
Well, thank you for those questions. So, right now, what's keeping me most busy is still the coin series.
Yeah.
And so I have, with my son, just designed, and we have listed on P500 an expansion, 2 coin series volumes. So Falling Sky, which is currently out and concerns the relatively obscure Italian figure Julius Caesar and his exploits in Gaul in the coin series in the context of internal war and rebellion. So that volume, we only looked at the second half of the Gallic Wars.
Yep.
And we did that. We chose that for certain reasons to do with the nature of the system. But we thought there's a great story, of course, also in the first half. And so the expansion we call Area Vistus, to bring in some Germans too. So now we have not only the Italians and the Gauls and the Belgians in there, but a little bit of German action as well to
we
challenge,
look forward to that.
to challenge young Caesar. So that's Area Vistus. And then I'm the developer, not the designer, for Volume 8 in the coin series, and that's Mark Guglielmiretti's absolutely luscious Pendragon, The Fall of Rome and Britain, which, for the first time in the coin series, takes us through not just how does a system work, but a systemic transformation, because we start the game as part of the Roman Empire, and we end the game in the Dark Ages. And how does that play out?
That's terrific. We really look forward to that.
It's absolutely a gorgeous design, and so that will be coming next year. So with regard to what am I thinking of next in terms of game systems, so the coin series I hope will not be the last.
Oh yeah, we hope it will not be
And
last.
I can't say I'm working on a new system, but I am thinking about one. And what I would like to very much do is bring into the current game design a set of mechanics of a game you and I have enjoyed very much, and that's Angola.
Yes.
From Ragnar Brothers. It's a design from the late 1980s, if some of your convention goers don't know it, and it's a 4-player game about civil war in Angola.
You guys should all try it. It's a fantastic design, a great game. Please try it.
Absolutely, Angola. And I played it first just a few years ago. And I said, this was designed in the 1980s, but it's so modern.
Yeah.
And it uses...
clever.
Clever, and it uses cards for military action in a completely different way.
Yeah.
It's not like CDG or coin or anything. And in a way that makes multiplayer play of a military situation very quick and interactive. It's a great model of the confusion and chaos of civil war. And I don't think any other game took that idea from this one game, Angola, and applied it to something else. So I wanted to steal that and bring that to some other thing. And there are many topics that it could be applied to. But the one I would like to apply to is, and I haven't said this to anybody else yet, and I haven't done anything, it's only my idea, but I'd like to apply it to medieval warfare, specifically to the feudal system, in which we have these rather complicated relationships among those lords who control small groups of forces. And for a larger campaign, the political system has to mobilize those forces, maneuver them, and then they disperse again temporarily. And there's a contest there between protagonists in this feudal system. And I think with the card system in Angola, to apply that to, rather than columns of troops in Angola. Apply that to different lords, retainers, and troops.
Makes sense,
So that as you're trying to assemble this campaign in medieval times, you're not really sure who's going to respond when, how
the
fast.
Timing, the timing.
I think it would work very well to have a very fun, playable, communicative, educational model of feudal system politics and warfare. So that's the idea, but I don't know the setting exactly yet, and I think it won't be for, probably I won't start on it for another year and a half, I think.
That's fine, at least we have given to our friends, a news that nobody knew, so this is the first...
And if somebody can do that faster than me, do it.
It's welcome. So we will play it, right?
Yes.
Well, Volko, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for all the Italian friends for this interview. And of course, we hope that sometimes in the future you and I together can fly to Italy and enjoy some of these conventions with the Board Game Storico.
All right, Board Game Storico. Have a great convention and cheers.
Cheers. Thank you, guys.